Well, I can't recommend this SITEPAD software enough. It's very simple to use, and I have to say this with one caveat because I think if a person isn't used to using other types of software, they might find it not so simple to use. Um, me, I've been around. I mean, getting around, say, Microsoft Office or getting around some of the accounting systems and the tax systems and things, and it's like intuitive to me. So it's really, there's nothing but a bunch of widgets. You put like forms on there, images, text boxes, and I don't know, there's different things. And I'm not totally familiar with it yet, but within 48 hours, I was able to rebuild this site no problem. So I got the header up there with the symbols and stuff. I got, I'm going to add a bunch of pages across here. Um, this is linked to the Confederate Society of America because a lot of these um, pro-South websites, they put up a website, it might be good, but this one is actually active. I never even heard of the Confederate Society of America, but they're an active organization. But he has a lot of good information out there that he's constantly updating. So that's an important thing if you're updating the information. So the other thing is that let me close that site down. The other thing is that I have now I'm using my older computer here. So come on, baby. There it is. It has I use an XP computer because I have several Windows 7 computers, but I use an XP computer that has a lot of software on it. So this one is learn more about the South. It opens up and has American independence was won in the South. You can read this article here. So, and about 1776. And this one opens up to a YouTube video about firing the original Confederate cannon. And this was about the newsletter on. I just put this on the homepage, and actually, I concentrated on that first, and it turns out some of my other pages are more complete. So this was a news flyer about the Georgia Confederates Youth Camp, because there's a lot of there's big media against this. This was about Jefferson Davis, very heartwarming story, and I got I got 40 camps here, the local camps. So if you click on one of them, it'll open up to the camp right there. So boom, you got it. So that's pretty good, So that's pretty good. You go across the top though. This was not hard to do at all, surprisingly. Now this one I was putting up the Sons of the American Revolution articles. So when you hover, I don't know if that'll show up. You see when you hover over it, it says Betsy Ross. You just put keywords: Americans win, American victory. Samuel Nicholas leads the first U.S. Marines in mission. So if you click that on, it comes to an article about Samuel Nicholas, the first U.S. Marine. So anyway, so that wasn't bad. I made these PDFs out of text files that were there. So it actually is pretty damn good. So you got to hover over there, electoral college. This is not bad software it's simpler than WordPress. I don't think I'd have a problem learning WordPress so easily either. It's almost like this kind of stuff I seem to get into fast. Now I know SITEPAD is a fast, easy to learn software, but I never worked with this. I never saw it before, and inside of 2 days I was able to update all this stuff. So that's pretty quick. And I could say that some people, if you gave them the SITEPAD, they're not going to be able to do it that easily. Even though it's easy to use, it's not like you're posting on Facebook or something. It's a little more involved in that, but it isn't hard. But in this one I had, here you hover over it, facts not well known. So these open up. As a matter of fact, we have, YouTube. I don't know. Memphis's first white civil rights advocate. They tear this guy up. And reality behind it was he was very much helping the black man, and I don't I think there's games going on, but a powerful elite that set people against each other so they keep control. So, well, I know there is, to tell you the truth. And actually, that brings up to another subject I have in here, you know, these are the videos on the SCV activities, Sons of Confederate Veterans, and it takes a little bit to load because there's several of the YouTube videos here. This was here, so you have the title, In Memory of Fallen Confederate Soldiers, Rifle and Cannon Salutes. You can play that. Here's about all the flags from the South. This was on Confederate Memorial Day. Again, color guard. This was at the historical Baker House, located here in Central Florida. So it is, you know, and I got all these things working. This is Facebook for, you know, it clicks on to Facebook for Florida SCV. I don't have Facebook, you know. One thing I don't like about Facebook is that you can't even see the content that well if you're not logged in. You know, they block it all off and stuff. Like, see this? I hate that stuff. That aggravates the hell out of me. So you got Twitter here, you got YouTube. It goes to YouTube, and I think this is going to have a little bar across there. I'm using an outdated browser, right? Whatever. Yeah. I put on Marathon, and they said I couldn't log in because it doesn't have enough security, but they're the only ones that say that, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I have that. You see, in other words, a lot of times people, when they put up a website, they don't update all this stuff up here, and they got a lot of I mean, I figured this out, so it's clean. It's clean. So this is the reenactment videos, and this was pretty simple, but I'm going to get into the media bias. It takes a little bit to load there because I don't know if I got the fastest internet connection in the world or whatever, but this was the Confederate cavalry, and you know, I got some good images and stuff here. You know, when I got some pretty good shots. So I'm not a media guy, but I freaking learn anything pretty quick. Media bias. I love this one. The media bias and psychological brainwashing of the public. And actually, I put this on here. You know, a video, and also these were the messages that were flashed across the screen from the national anthem that was played back in the 60s through about, I don't know if it was in the early 70s, but I remember growing up, if I stayed up real late, I would see this national anthem, and I remember that, and then the TV would go, you know, go into it'd be nothing on TV. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember that. A lot of people don't remember it. So like here, you can click on this, and you can see, you know, you can see the thing, trust the U.S. government, right? Goes right. So I did one of the messages. I did the flashing of everything through there. So you know, and I did something. This is a thing to bit shoot. You can't, you know, you still can't embed bit shoot. I don't know how to. Maybe you could do it in HTML. So I don't know how to do that. But this thing at least does have like a nice picture. You can click it and it opens up, and it has a thing you can put words over it when you hover your mouse over it. So this was Captain Wirtz, and this is when I was up in Georgia in November 2019, a few months ago or so. So this was Dr. Henry Winkler's video, and I have the transcript of his speech down there. That was a real pain to get that out because the names, I had to go look them up. I had to go through the trial transcript. I had to find that because I couldn't understand it. I was trying to get the spelling of the names correct. So, and actually, I'm going to put up here on the top. This guy, Captain Wirtz, despite having numerous irrefutable facts come to light that have totally exonerated Captain Wirtz of all wrongdoing, there's still a heavy big media blitz against him. It's like amazing. It's like if you look up today the Captain Wirtz Memorial in Andersonville, Georgia, not the prison site, the POW site, but the memorial. They'll say it's the only memorial that's actually constructed in America to a convicted war criminal. Yeah, it was convicted by a kangaroo court. This guy was, and actually I have the part of the book, just a couple pages, and you can get that on Amazon. It's from a Lieutenant James Madison Page, a Union officer who exonerates Captain Wirtz. You can read it right here. So you can see when you put your mouse over that, it says, Confederate honor, Confederate truth, the South was right. Long live the South, and long live Dixie. So you can click this, and you can see this was a rare book I picked up that I just did a couple pages out of it, but it was a story where they were cheering on Captain Wirtz for all the good crap he was doing, good things he was doing, meant to say. And this was the Union guy writing this. He spent 7 months in that prison camp near the end of the war when it was all the conditions fell apart and stuff. Here's the MOSB commanders of Georgia and the overall commander, and also two different grandsons of Captain Wirtz. One was raised in Georgia, so he talks Southern, and one was raised in Switzerland, so he talks European a little bit, a German accent. So this is so these are the commanders and stuff. So we had that up there. I think this actually came out pretty good, pretty fast. You know, had a about us. So it says our pro-freedom message. I'm doing this as an umbrella website linking Confederate and 1776 American Revolution activities and events in Marion County, Florida. So it's the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Sons of American Revolution, Military Order Stars and Bars, and the SCV Mechanized Cavalry. So we got our vision to educate the public and all relevant facts relating to the War of 1861-1865, and our mission to preserve the history and legacy of our Confederate heroes so that future generations can understand the motives that animated the Southern cause. And this is a monument that's to the Southern soldier. Really, this was a cause that was trying to break away from the big financial powers, and that's why the big financial powers of today are doing everything they can to smear these to smear the South. So again, here we have all the websites. So this is not the Marion Light Artillery website for the camp itself. I'm just calling this Marion Light Artillery. This is not for Sons Confederate Veterans 1396. This is kind of an umbrella educational site. You click this on. Here's the actual campsite. I made that. You know, made this one. This one I'm going to click on. I didn't make this one. It takes a little longer to load. The guy who made it, he worked in MIT for a long time, and he's got a lot of stuff in his site, man. It's like, that's why it takes a little longer to load. I mean, right now you're not seeing the whole thing because I don't want to make this video too long, but basically I'm telling you that SITEPAD is quick. This is still loading, so I'm going to shut that off. So whatever. This is one I don't know if that thing's still loading back there. This is another one I fixed that one. I didn't make it, but I tell you the truth, I got no problem making websites now. This SITEPAD is like easy. And then I got a blog up here too, so I can put all the current events that's coming up. And I noticed, you know, these things aren't hard to use, but a lot of people don't see these little details. So I got everything on this working 100%, you know, and a lot of people don't see the details. That is why you get these stupid things on these sites. You got some stuff that works and some stuff that don't. And it's not like I made a complicated website here, but I made an accurate website where everything on it functions. Now, what I got to really do, it's going to take me a long time. Like I did put, like on this one here, Civil War. I call it Civil War because it's easier to fit the word in there instead of the war between the North and the South or the war of Yankee aggressions. So I put Civil War in quotes because it fits in the block easier. Most people understand that better. So I put this on here. These are basically JPEGs of PDF custom PDFs I made, and then I got the PDFs down in here. So I got a few more of those to do down here. I mean, if I got to do 10 more down here, maybe that'll be a lot. So this is pretty much complete. And I got a lot more to do on the media bias. But that's going to be a long page. That's going to be a very long page. But the other one that's going to take a slew of work is this one. These things, the thing is, I don't know, one thing I don't know about Site Builder, it's like I can't go click, 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 clone. I didn't see where you can clone. We can clone it one at a time, but then you got to position it. And it's tedious. It just eats up time. So I got to put, how many I put? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I got to do about, I don't know, maybe 445 more of these things to get this complete. There's like 400. I think there's like, maybe a couple of them I repeated. So maybe there's 430 more articles I have to do. Because they're daily articles, but sometimes I actually took 2 copies of it by mistake when I was doing this stuff. So, but sometimes they have an article that maybe you say on February 12th or something that they have another event for that day. So there's 2 articles for that day. These are the daily articles from the Sons of the American Revolution. But I want to have them where they, you know, this is like, in other words, everybody across all the Sons of the American Revolution chapters in the country can use this. This is actually, these articles, they're not coming out, they're coming out from the head of the Sons of the American Revolution, and they're like a text file in the email. So I made them like this, in this nice format where you can read them, and it's actually, you can download it, you can go here, you can read this, you can do this, you can download and whatever, right? So, you know, you can download this stuff. That's the way it is. So anyway, it's good. It's good. It's simple, but it's good, and it works. I think most of the time, the problem when people do these things, they don't go the whole 9 yards with all the attention to detail. But this is why I was an accountant for high net worth people. You see, I don't even know how to do this stuff. In 48 hours, I got all this junk on here, man. It's fast, and nothing's broke. Everything works. Everything works. I mean, it's not the most freaking fluting high fancy thing going. I'm going to make some improvements to it later as I learn, but nothing screwed up on it. Nothing screwed up. You know, it's got the pictures going across here. Woo. Anyway, it's got these things where you go over this. Actually, this doesn't show on here, but this looks gray, and then when you put your mouse over it, goes white. You know, anyway, whatever. And this was an excellent documentary it's on YouTube about Jefferson Davis. This guy went through so many. He was a very kind-hearted man, very much so. That's why the people, he was loved. I mean, not during the war he wasn't loved because the war wasn't going well. But he suffered a lot after the war when they tried to accuse him of all these bad things. And that's interrelated in the Captain Wirtz story, because they would have gave Captain Wirtz his freedom if he implicated Jefferson Davis in some kind of crime. And Captain Wirtz said, no, that's not, he didn't do anything wrong. So he died, they hung him. He would have been totally exonerated. In this, you know, so they're all interrelated. There's a lot of lies going on by the big media. I know it's like it got, you know, when social media came out, it was open and free, more or less, except Facebook. Facebook, from the day one, was designed to be a spying platform. YouTube was originally open and free. I don't know. I shouldn't say nothing because, but you know, I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. I got all my videos up on BitChute. I hope that guy holds together up there, because I hope nothing happens to my YouTube channel. But who the hell knows? I mean, it's like, that's why I'm telling people, I'm going to put down where my BitChute channel is. I mean, I could put a PayPal button up on this YouTube, and I mean, I don't know why I didn't get through with the Patreon, but you know, I didn't really ask him. I'm not really pushing it, but I'd rather have people go over to BitChute and watch that for a second, see what they got, what's going on. You know, because if I started playing games with affiliates and stuff like this on this YouTube, and I'm making money because I'm playing like the games like all these other guys are doing, they're a bunch of, I don't like them. I mean, when people beg for money on online, unless you're really providing a service somehow, I really don't like it. And but if I did that, and I don't really want, I mean, I want people to move out of the YouTube, because if they're going to be that, if they're being so restrictive and stuff, to hell with them, man. I mean, really. I mean, what am I going to do about it? I don't want to criticize them that hard because I want to keep my videos up here, but I ain't getting paid for them or nothing. You know, so whatever. I mean, what can I say, man? It's really screwed up. So this media bias thing, I'm going to do a lot more on. And it's not necessarily going to be about YouTube or anything, or even social media, but I'm going to go into how they juxtapose, what if you want to use that big word, when they put side by side Confederate reenactment events with civil rights marches, and said that they were related. No, they weren't. Back in 1957, it was Attorney General Brownell from New York who pushed for the first Civil Rights Act. Also, during 1957, it was in Congress that the committee voted to encourage the southern states to all celebrate to get them ready to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the war between the states. That's why they had all those parades and reenactments. They put the battle flags up over the capitals. And then the media today will tell you it was in defiance of the civil rights movement. No. But then I don't just highly suspect, I'm 110% sure. I don't even want to say the name. Starts with Tavistock. You know what I mean? Anyway, that, yeah, Google algorithms picked that up easy. But, more likely it was set up that way. They could have started the civil rights movement 50 years earlier, but they had to start it during the time of the 100-year anniversary, and it encouraged everybody to, get out there and celebrate their Southern heritage and stuff, right? And at the same time, the big money backed Martin Luther King, right? You understand what was going on? That was deliberately designed and timed. I mean, the 100 years of anniversary wasn't deliberately timed. That was there. But they timed the civil rights movement to coincide with it so they could play a big freaking game, and they used everything they possibly could to create tensions. So today, most black people, I don't know if most, maybe most, maybe it's good 50% or more, don't like these Confederate symbols. But that's because of the media. And if you look why they hate the Confederacy, what's the number 4th message that was flashed across the screen? I noticed that's ancient technology and it doesn't work that great. They subliminal messages, they used it in advertising. It helps a little bit, but they got way better stuff today. What was this? What did it say? Rebellion will not be tolerated. That's the big guys behind the power, behind the throne. That's why they don't like that's why I say they're brainwashing black people about this stuff too, man. We're against the power, man. We're not for the power. That's what the hell it is. So, anyway, SITEPAD, you're wonderful. You're wonderful. At first, it was kind of like, what the hell is this stuff exactly? I couldn't line things up exactly. I was having a problem lining stuff up. And then I started getting more skilled at it. I started figuring out where it was, man. If you got, well, you know what? If you're just a Facebook poster, even SITEPAD web building software might be pretty tough. That's a fact. I mean, it is way easier to use, and it's like you don't have to know any HTML, but you could put HTML in it. But it is way easier to use. You can get up a website real quick with SITEPAD, and it's got, I didn't really explore everything you could do with it, but it's got a lot. It's got a lot. It's got a lot. So very happy with it, and considering this is only 48 hours after I signed up with, what do you call it, interserver.net out of Secaucus, New Jersey. These guys are professionals. As a matter of fact, every time I sign in, even if I gotta fill out a CAPTCHA, just not even click it. I gotta go in there and find the bus and click on the photos and stuff. Then you go in there, I got a call-in PIN. This stuff is way better security than, and the other thing is I got the SSL certificate comes with it. I didn't have to pay for it. It's already in the service. That was another thing, because these other places, they hook you in there real quick, and all these things that really should be standard aren't there. So, interserver, it was great. But, this is one of the reasons I could potentially make a shitload of money if I just got off of YouTube and I went to work for somebody, because, if they got problems with their accounting systems or something, and they got some yo-yo screwed up everything, the way they did the accounts and the way they set up the forms, and you know what I mean? These people, they don't even know how to use the systems half the time. They start making separate spreadsheets, and they do this and they do that, and it's all because they only know it. Like, I set everything up nice and smooth and stuff, and I'll have things on a wall that are printed out in plastic to even code where paper files are, because there's always like the paper computer and not just what's in the system. But the way I set things up, it's very logical, and I don't leave nothing to chance, and I have to do the backup to the backup to the backup. This is why I work for high net worth people. Like I said, this is not something, I can't brag about this being like I'm a website builder, but for a guy that never freaking did websites, and I know SITEPAD is made for that, for people like me, but to do all this in 48 hours, that's a lot. That's a lot for somebody who don't know it. that's why I work for people that and then who the hell knows? There's probably gonna be a lot more. I don't think I'm gonna be messing with this for a while though, because I might be messing with these SAR articles because it needs a lot more of them. And some of the SEV articles, I got to put a few more of those in there. But I don't think I'm going to be messing with this too much anymore. I'm probably just going to be mainly adding the SEA articles and maybe the media bias and work on something with that. But it is mostly complete as far as what I'm going to put in it. But as far as it being complete as to everything working, yeah, everything's working fine. Absolutely fine. And mission accomplished, So anyway, over and out. Just want to point out that SITEPAD isn't super easy to use. But I should say when I say that, because it's easy to use if you're familiar with doing a lot of other things. If you are somebody that's not, I know the definition of good with the computer can be a lot of different things. But I was doing it very, I know people even say advanced spreadsheets can mean a lot of things. I was doing very advanced spreadsheets for people that were very demanding, for people that were out in California. They were the main financer of all the home building. They were the biggest home building financiers in the nation at the time, out of California. I was doing advanced stuff for them directly. And actually I was the only guy that had access to at the time it was called the Fixed Asset Scheduling Technique System, FAST, and it had an AS400 IBM computer. I was the only guy that actually had access to that. I used to download the ANSI text files, use the Visual Basic program in Excel to make them into tables. Then I would take the tables and had an access database that made a custom builder software system, because we were heavily dependent upon the financiers' general reports out of California, and there was no way we can actually use a local system, so we had to use their data. So we had to massage the data to be able to use it and see it in detail where the profitability was being done and what type of houses, what type of options and whatever. And the thing is that when I came out of the Marine Corps, I didn't even understand day one about, hey, look at that mouse moving across the screen. That's how I was. And inside of like a year and a half, I'm doing very advanced spreadsheet analysis, and I was doing databases out of Access. And then here, like about, I guess it was about it was a little more than 10 years later, I was doing main controller services for over $1 billion worth of assets. It was actually $1.5 billion of assets of large projects outside of Disney. I was the main controller services for that. So then I stopped doing that because I got into some other stuff. I'm like, man, it's like a labyrinth. It's a labyrinth. I always feel I'm going to be pulled back to the freaking Giants in New Jersey, in New York area. I am. I think I always feel like I'm going to be pulled back to that. I don't know why. I always have that in the back of my head. So, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this worked out pretty well. Very good software. It's got a lot of features I think a lot of people don't even realize are there. I like this little hover over thing, you can put over here. It says Benedict Arnold captures and destroys Richmond. Actually, Benedict Arnold was a great guy until he turned coat because they were screwing him over. To tell you the truth, if you want to look at real American history, Benedict Arnold wouldn't even turn coat at all if he wasn't getting screwed over by some bureaucrats that were running. Nothing's like textbook black and white. Even during the 1776, the revolutionary people, some of them were hedging their bets, some of them were not so good. Actually, Benedict Arnold was a good guy overall. He just got fed up with getting screwed over by his own guys. If this guy wasn't around, Benedict Arnold, we would never have become independent. Yet his name is associated with being a traitor. God, tell you what, he freaking fought for this country a lot, and then they screwed him up. That's why he freaking turned coat. He's busting his ass, and there's a lot of games going on. It's not such clean history as people like to think. You know, so that's the case in 1776, and that's the case in 1861. But, you know, somehow we're not supposed to say, you know, they get the big algorithms out there looking for me, you know. Anyway, over and out. Have a nice day. And if you want to look at the site, it's MarionLightArtillery.com, located in Marion County, Florida. CSA. That's Confederate States of America. Over and out. Oh, yeah, and I'm not going to play the national anthem for you with subliminal messages or anything like that, so don't worry about that. Yeah.